Hi, Keiki.
Miss Sutrove here. My favorite thing to do is to paint on site different places around Maui. And here's one that I did down at Sprecklesville in Paia in the late afternoon light. I haven't been painting out at the beach lately because we've all been staying home. But we can still travel these places through our artwork. And so today, here's a drawing that we're going to do together of this same scene, or you can choose your own favorite place on Maui or elsewhere to draw and maybe even paint a beautiful landscape to brighten your day and your family's day as well. Let's get started. So as I said, we are going to work on drawing a landscape, and a landscape has three different parts. On this photo that I took down in Sprecklesville, you have in the foreground these rocks and sand. In the middle ground, you have these waves and all those trees there along the coast. And then in the background, you've got West Maui Mountains and the clouds. And as you notice, as things get farther and farther away, they get smaller. Just look at these palm trees. The ones over there are farther away and they're smaller than those. So I'm going to move these out of the way because I'm going to show you that in one more way. Because this one here, imagine if it had some people in it. So if this person was in the foreground, they would be that size. But imagine there was someone out here surfing, catching that wave right there. They're just boogie boarding there, or maybe they're kicking to paddle and get it. This person's a lot smaller because they are farther away. You notice how they're also higher up in this picture? So they are in the middle ground, while this person here is in the foreground. When we are drawing, we want to be careful about proportion, how big something is compared to something else. This person is smaller and farther away. This person here is closer, and so it looks larger. If I change their positions, like this person came over here, it looks like, what's that, an ant or some trash that needs to be picked up off the beach? I'm not sure. If this person went over here, they'd look like we've got a giant person walking down through Sprecklesville, and that's not going to work either. So we want to pay attention to how big things are when we put them into the picture. Now, I'm going to make my own drawing inspired by this one. I've got my paper here, and here we go. Since we talked about foreground, middle ground, and background, we're going to set up our paper so it has those three sections. I'm going to take this bottom part and fold it up so that this section and this section have the same height. And so when I see that this part and this part are the same, I'll make just a little light fold. And then this part, I'm going to lightly fold down, and so that and that should just about match. And then open it up again. I don't need a really hard crease, but I have just a little suggestion of it. And so now that I have that, I'm going to look at this piece here and decide, okay, what's happening in my foreground? I see that the beach, the coastline, goes along from here. And so I'm going to make a light line going down this way. I know that's not really a line there, but I can see that's sort of the angle, that this is beach and that is water. That line really is going to get covered up by these rocks. And because they're in shadow, we call it backlit, I can't see too many details, which means that I can kind of have fun making shapes that seem like the right kind for them. But if I kind of guess at it, that's fine. Mostly notice that there's a lot of sharp angles there, and that they get smaller as they get farther away. Now, I'm not really drawing this fast. I sped up the film speed. As I said, I'm not really drawing this quickly. I'm looking carefully at all the details in the photo that make up the middle ground. Where are there more rocks? What shape are they? And what are they connected to? And then I'm trying to look at that coastline and the horizon, that horizontal line that separates the ocean from the land, and the point of land that comes down, that's taller and then gets skinnier as it goes to the right. And there's the wave, two wiggly lines, one on top of the other. Here we go again, wiggle line and a little bit above. And now I'm gonna look at those palm trees. I'm doing their trunks first coming up, and they get shorter as they get farther away. And then the fronds, they're blowing in the wind. They're just little lines for now, but I'll add more detail as we go. Smaller as they get far away. And I've done the middle ground, I've done the foreground, and on to the background. And there's not too many details in the background, but there's a couple really important ones because we're looking towards the West Maui Mountains, but it's late in the day with the sun about to set behind them, so you can't see a lot of detail, but there's a couple important details. See this spot right there? That is the edge of the mountain coming out from under the clouds. So over here in the palm trees, we need to draw that edge of that mountain. And also, see that little bit there, little bit of light coming in over above Iao Valley? I'm going to draw that part too, because that's going to really tell us about this shape that's over there. And then I can draw that shape of the cloud that is sitting there above the mountains and then turning into fluffier clouds above. But really notice, what are the shapes of these clouds? Don't assume what shape they are. Really look closely at the shapes that you notice. Now that I've drawn my main shapes, I'm going to speed my film up again. But really, I'm drawing slowly and still looking closely. This time, I'm looking at the value, where it is dark, where it is light, since I am shading this piece in. You might instead decide to use colored pencils or crayons or markers or paint. Whatever you use, look closely at what the colors are and where it is dark and where it is light. Keep looking and make something beautiful. So here's my finished sketch. I can't wait to see what sort of landscape you make. See you soon.